It should come through. Okay, welcome everyone to the 37th Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And once again, we will be communicating with Mr. Keshe at the Spaceship Institute. And I'm aware that Marco is also there, and we might hear from others as well at the Spaceship Institute. Last week we talked about various subjects ranging from Ebola and various research going on with that, and defense technology, and we showed Eric's work with gold, what appears to be gold GANs and other things. This week we don't know yet what topics will come up, but we'll find out now from Mr. Keshe at the Spaceship Institute. Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, good morning, good day, wherever you are and what you are up to. we don't have much to report or tell you in the teaching and the development, except that we were invited to for a number of meetings in Italy. So as Keshe Foundation team, we left on Saturday and we just came back early hours of this morning, except Marco. He decided to go home for 5 days. And it's been, if the result comes out as what we've been promised or what we've seen or we discussed, it'll be a very fruitful position for the knowledge seekers around the world. We've been promised a lot of things, but in the high levels that we see can be applicable in a matter of, we know it within a matter of a few days or a few weeks. If things develop as it is, Keshe Foundation will offer through one of the universities around the world, or 2 universities within the next few months, master degrees directly from the university. Which means if you have a degree, you can get additional or add to your knowledge through certificate qualification from governmental universities, not from private universities. These things will take time, and we've been told it can be speeded up very rapidly due to what we've done in Italy and how we developed our technologies, and we have this spread the technology. On the other hand, as we have taken over the production of the kits, large number of kits have been sent out. A few has been returned while we've been away. We don't understand why. It's going to be clarified today, tomorrow with the shippers. And we have all the equipment and materials. It's just a matter of packaging it the right way and sending it out. So all the kits should be met by the end of next week in shipping out of the foundation. And in addition to it, we will announce and report videos as has been done, new kits and new materials from the foundation. The backup, once we get this CO2 kit out of the way, the backup to build the energy units will be released before Christmas, most probably. What Dr. Elia calls it, the pain pad, to be released in the next few weeks, or maybe even early next week, depends what we do. Are we broken out? Are we connected? Can you hear us?
I can hear you well.
Yes, you can hear us. Okay. And further to this, as you are aware, we have set up the new equipment, and we left on Saturday morning. The weight scale was 1240. We returned this morning. I know the live stream has gone down, but it stands at 13,4648. So if you are correct, we have added on the 1 kilo 40 or 60 kilogram while we've been away. So the setup has repeated itself as gaining mass. We have received the detector back from the manufacturers, and we are testing it ourselves on this side. I tried to place it and position it before we leave, but I touched some button somewhere and it has to be readjusted today because we didn't have to do it on Saturday. So we have repeated the gain in mass by over 1 kilo, which is nearly 7-8%, which means the plasma has started interacting. We will add a new core to this set to this week that you will see, and furthermore into the whole structure. If we are correct, the collaboration with companies which we have started working with will allow us to bring detection, control and release of the fields through fully central computerized system. There are a number of meetings which are set up from today and for next few days, where the software programmers and the hardware programmers, one company is coming with us, and we see how we can develop this, that you don't see just a power supply, we bring a control in 3D dimension into the whole program. On the other hand, as you are aware, when I arrived last night, I've seen a input by people who are on this and listen to this program, that our American, what they call military team, has announced on the veteran chat show in America that they're officially coming to Keshe Foundation within the coming days for most probably inspection, evaluation of the new system in defense, for be psychological or whatever they want to see that can be used for their work. On the other hand, we will report whatever happens here as we keep our books open, that we don't go to bed with one nation or another. And when this happens, I think Brett can give you the link to listen to it if he's online. Are you there, Brett?
Yeah, I gave it to Vince already.
Vince, can you load up the link for this interview which I received, please? Is it there?
Looks like they are there, yes.
Yeah? Can you click on it? Can we hear it? No? We should hear it, we can't hear it.
We meet each other. So we've got get-togethers planned over the holidays. We're going to be meeting in Italy. We're going to be meeting with the Iranian physicist Keshe, discussing electronic countermeasures and, yes, mind control stuff. Certainly going to be doing that. I'm going to probably be in Africa in the interim. Some of it Ebola, some of it broad security stuff, some of it economic stuff. And I would initially be in Ghana and then Nigeria. And that's being put together right now. We're going to Syria for a conference, and that will be defense related, so it will be just a few insiders, and then we'll have military people affiliated with us going. Jim Hankey, but others, and then a group from the Senate Armed Services Committee will be going as informal observers secretly, because they can't publicly go, or I can't mention that because we can't admit that we would have any communication on coordinated.
That's it. Yeah, this. Can you hear me? Why? Hello, can you hear me? Or are we just here? So,
Apparently the live stream, I think, went down or something. I'm not sure if it went down and came back. Can anybody give me some feedback on that, maybe?
Is Vince on or has he disappeared?
The live stream seems to be working okay now. So, yeah,
Well,
Vince says, no, we haven't been able to hear you, Vince. That's right.
he's back on.
Testing now. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's loud and clear now.
Okay, sorry about that. I was listening to the live stream at the same time, and it sounded like it was coming through okay. But if you need me to play it again, let me know when I can play it or play it again
It
right
is
away.
this is an extract from an interview. So
Yeah.
this is part which they've withdrawn, sent to us for whatever purpose.
Yeah.
So we
strangely enough, the live stream just cut off and stopped somewhere in the middle of that
do you want
recording.
to play it again? Do you
Well,
want to?
let's try it again and see what happens. Play it again, Vince.
We meet each other, so we've got get-togethers planned over the holidays. We're going to be meeting in Italy. We're going to be meeting with the Iranian physicist Keshe, discussing electronic countermeasures and, yes, mind control stuff. Certainly going to be doing that. I'm going to probably be in Africa in the interim. Some of it Ebola, some of it broad security stuff, some of it economic stuff. And I would initially be in Ghana and then Nigeria. And that's being put together right now. We're going to Syria for a conference, and that will be defense related, so it will be just a few insiders, and then we'll have military people affiliated with us going. Jim Hankey, but others, and then a group from the Senate Armed Services Committee will be going as informal observers secretly because they can't publicly go, or I can't mention that because we can't admit that we would have any communication on coordinated security operations with Syria. So, oh God, I've done it, haven't I?
Oh God,
I'd really forgotten that was supposed to be secret.
Well, I mean, nothing's secret in it.
Whoops.
Deliberately pressurizing the government. Now we know how secrets are secrets. So, as we have said, we will not disclose anything unless it's disclosed by the authorities, government. Furthermore, as of yesterday, the Keshe Foundation has entered official Ebola testing by the groups which are responsible for this in Africa. The trial or whatever is going to happen to it will be disclosing as it comes. The important thing is not for us to be as part of the Ebola, but to understand the working of these materials which should be produced. That gives us some further insight into the whole structure. In the coming days and weeks, we will announce collaboration with one of the leading organizations in the world as part of all the structure foundation of Apple computers for development of new programs for other aspects of the technology. This is done with the what you call the owners and major shareholders in the companies, that now they have seen the organization, what we do, what has been achieved, and they are prepared to participate in directly develop and commercialization of it around the world in US and in Europe. One of the conditions we have put on the Japanese, the Chinese, now the European, most probably the American, which they'll be here as we heard, is the peaceful application of this technology, and at the same time openness of the laboratories all together at the same time, which means the organizations and the companies all accepted the technology is so big the way it's coming out that none of them can be controlling the whole market. So everybody will share and produce what they can to market the materials what is produced simultaneously. This has been a great breakthrough for us, for the foundation, and more or less for the scientific world, that manufacturers, developers, understanding the potential of this technology, are opening their labs to each other. It's never happened. We know some companies, motor manufacturers, car manufacturers, share some technologies to reduce costs. But organizations, manufacturers, developers, and now universities joining as one team to share the knowledge instantaneously, without any patent, which makes it available to everyone, has been unprecedented. We will carry on with this type of work, and in due course we release the name of the companies involved, the universities which are involved, and all the other applications of it. It is interesting to thank all the people around the world who helped or been part of spreading the knowledge of Keshe Foundation. In so many ways, your hard work has started paying off. In so many ways, what we strive to achieve, and so many of us paid with the harsh ways and a lot of what I call a sleepless night, we are start seeing the fruit of this change. In a small presentation which was organized, that's why we went, not only for that, but it was a consequence of going where we went. A number of influential people who could change and make decisions in respect to the spread of the technology. In a small presentation of 50, 60 people, we achieved a lot of progress. And this progress will come on site, and you will see how the thing's going. In the coming weeks, we will open the health application of the Keshe Foundation in a very different than what we've done today, up to now. Because now we've got Dr. Elia here as a full-time medical doctor, and she is taking up the whole structure, restructuring the health section for worldwide, in cooperation with other scientists. We start preliminary clinical trials in conjunction with scientists, doctors around the world, that they can monitor independently, case by case. If you listen to the children program last night, I received a couple of emails since last night that regarding the autism, can we make some clarification? The Keshe Foundation has been involved in evaluation and change of the condition of the autistic children for some 8-10 years now, and we have seen huge progresses and changes in the cases we are involved in. So we have announced last night, we said last night in the children program, that if you are or part of or you know people who, or you have children or family who suffers from autistic or autism, which we can assess to be correct, there is a 100% solution to change at least most of society. We are running a number of trials even at this moment around the world.
Just missed the last sentence there.
Yes. So we are involved in the autistic reversal of the condition through the development of the technology. So we are open if you know anyone or you are part of organizations who handles or is in contact with these type of children, even children with mental deficiency due to the lack of oxygen at birth. These children can be helped to at least gain or regain most of their what we call natural process of development. This is a trial that has been done by the foundation. We will not release the name of the children for, as we understand, the security reasons, but the success rate with us has been 100%, which means we have achieved change in every single case we have accepted. So if you are part of these organizations or you know people with mental disorder due to the lack of oxygen at birth or autism, these children can all be helped. It's a process of 2, 3 years, 4 years, but it's not much to do to give a child a normal life for the rest of his life. On the other hand, if you ask for Down syndrome, we have not had any trials with this type of illness. Down syndrome is totally different type of disorder, which we have not refused, but we do not see our knowledge to extend to be able to handle such cases. Maybe in the coming time we will be able to consider it, but Down syndrome, which the way we see the change in the features of the face and the eyes, that we know exactly it is that kind of unwanted changes in the progress of development of the human body during the birth, we do not have a solution for, or we have never tried to say if it works or not. So we open this directly to the families. You have to go through the health at Keshe Foundation as a normal way through the health, through the website, and send a request application. Please understand, we have a huge problem. We're receiving a lot of people who apply through the health to Dr. Elia. You have to confirm and conform within what we have put on. It's no use coming in and then sending the application. We put down there, you should be able to satisfy the donation as much as the others. We accept everything, and when it comes for people to donate towards the systems which is made for them and the whole process, then they say you are guilty because you don't give it to us free. So if you cannot comply with the 5 lines which are on the website put by Dr. Elia, and health centers which are now going to be run need to be covered for expenses, please do not come in or organize yourself before you're coming in, wasting your time and ours, and then blaming us for your own shortcomings. In the coming week, maybe 2 weeks, we'll announce a permanent hospital in Europe, where we will be the permanent residence of the Keshe Foundation as a hospital with supervision of doctors. We have been offered 2 hospitals to run such a clinical trials on a government-based, applied, accepted procedure. In the coming week we will announce this, in maybe 2, if we finalize. If we don't finalize the last bit, this will be done. But as far as I've been told, 90% we have reached that point. Which means the teaching will go from a hospital, governmental, and 1 private, and the teaching in and seeing volunteers from around the world will be done under the supervision of the doctors which we start training as a Keshe Foundation health program. So we have been fortunate to have this position offered to us, and this goes as part of the master degrees which we will offer. Is there any question, or if there's anything you want me to explain in questions about most of the things which we have done?
Well, good morning, Mr. Keshe. I will try to open the questions for anyone else.
Good morning.
I guess Lucien got his foot in there first, so we can go
Yeah,
for
I
that.
think it must be very, very important, Lucien. You managed to get your foot in straight away.
Yeah, I will.
I've
How
got
to say? I
some.
will finish fast. You know.
I've
Okay.
got some
So,
pictures lined up for Lucian here too.
Lucian, I hope you inform the CNN. Now, I think after next week, they're going to report everything you do, because if the
yeah,
piece
you know, if you
is
answer
5
to this
plus 1
question,
is done,
yes.
then you become a very famous man.
Okay, so I was having 3 issues for today. I will start with the last one, with the power cell, because I did some measurements, are not ready. But we'll leave it for the next workshop. So I would like Rick to ask to load the first picture. It's like that one with _1, Rick. So the first question is quite very straightforward. You mentioned a couple of times that, if I got it right, that if the gases are losing water, they are going. Okay, no, I can go ahead because it's not related to the picture. So if the gas is losing water, it's going to reverse back to matter. So
Pardon?
You said that if the gases, right, are losing the water, so in other words, you put them in a container and the water is evaporating, they will
No,
revert back to
it
matter.
becomes the GANs of the matter, not matter. It still behaves as a GANs. We've shown this
Of the
even in the...
gas.
Yeah.
So
We
I
have
don't
shown
get
this.
the
What
fine
happened?
line. So what will
The,
be? Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking at what Marcus. What happened if you look at the pictures in the book? I think where we published a paper regarding the CO2. At the beginning, it took a long time to be able to solidify and powder the material, but the material still behaves as a GANS, but in a drier state. It is like matter, it's like the flesh, like meat. So it behaves, it looks and is like matter, but it is actually still stays as a GANS. We know this from tests, so add to the knowledge, please.
Okay, thank you. So that clarified the issue, because the reason I was asking you, Rick, can you upload that picture, the first one? Basically, one of my electrodes, the copper oxide GANs, formed above the water. So, in other words, in the air. So that will put a very interesting theoretical question, how that can happen, because you mainly explained that the copper from the nano coating is interacting with the oxygen from the water and is going to create the copper oxide gas under the water. As you will be able to see in this picture, this greenish stuff is created above the level of the water, I mean in the air. So maybe you would like to comment a little bit on that?
Okay. Yes.
Because could be another way of making the gases.
No, what happened, we see this if you if you have used, or most of you will start seeing this very soon, plastic coated wires which connects one plate to another, and in so many ways you by accident or whatever manage to get the wire sunk under the water in your salt water. If you do not keep your cables upwards, you will see that in a coming time, at the end of where you join the two wires from two plates, you will start collecting GANs from there as a solid state. Even though there is no connection, you could be about 20-30 centimeters away from the water, you're still producing GANs on the ends. We have collected these in our experiments here. And what happens, the moisture which is within and around the electrode still creates, is within the hemisphere of the gravitational magnetic field of the copper or the plate you are in. So even though you're out of it, there is still evaporation, moisture, And so above the plate, above the where the wire is in, you still have the same condition, because the way you look at it, as looking at the electrolysis, as you do plating, you plate gold from one plate to another. In this process, you create a gravitational magnetic field which does not limit to the plate itself or the surface where you are. It covers environment. So in that process, you're still where you show me, I see the picture, you put a circle on it, you are most probably within the moisture and the gravitational magnetic field of the plates or your electrodes. And this happens. You have to find out if you can increase and see where this stops. At the point where it stops is where your fields have their limitation. This is how you capture CO2. You create an environment of magnetic field of CO2 and you extract CO2 from the environment. So in the case of GaNs of copper oxide, it's not that what's under the water. You're dealing with a plasma. It covers a distance away from the water as well, because it's part of the evaporation process. We've seen this a long time. We even see it actually grows out of the containers and it goes all over your table if you've done this long enough. And you can collect it. And we have seen change of color of the material as we have added other systems. It feels, please do not touch it. It feels like talcum powder. It's very soft. It's not salt that you can say it's salt. It's GaNs. And it changes color according to the environmental gravitational magnet. So you can have a whitish, clear, and then in the process of months it changes to reddish color. Depends how the field environment has changed. So what you are talking about is a matter state. What we talk about and what you see is a plasma state, which shows has no boundary. We have a scientists here within the next few days. They're joining us this afternoon. What we are trying to do in this process in the coming weeks, in conjunction with their support and development, is that we try to do a measurement of the environment of our systems, of their magnetic and gravitational field. What this means, this may answer you, is that we can put a system looking at the container with the CO2 in it and in the salt, but we can see what you call in human terms of magnetic field as an aura of the system. So most probably if you have such a system, then you can see the spread of the magnetic field from the surface of the liquid. This is necessary for us for adding to our systems here and parallel what we call star formations, which is how we're running around the world in different labs in the coming days and weeks. So that we can see which core is creating what kind of magnetic gravitational field in respect to the totality. In a way, we keep an eye on the field development, that we can reach that all the reactors are in balance. At the same time, we can see the changes. I've seen the work of this system in a different way 2 days ago. It was shown to me, the program. I've seen the program. It'll be very effective. They're bringing it here. I hope they'll be able to bring the suitcase. They showed me they have the system. That from now on, you just don't look at the water. You can look at the whole magnetic field around the container, and then you see that it's not that it's out of the water, you still produce it. This is what I said, you got to change your hat from matter to plasma understanding, and the plasma goes beyond the surface. And we have seen this where we have a large number of what do you call it, containers which are producing GaNs, that the GaNs is actually produced out of the, what do you call it, 20, even 30 centimeter at the end of the wires which are sticking up. You see this process, if you've been running some of your containers with different cubicle in it, on the point where your wire sticks up, on the top you get the same a kind of production of CO2 or carbon dioxide. Because even though you connect the wire from one box to another and it's like 1 or 2 centimeters away from the water sticking up in the air, you're still in the gravitational magnetic field environment of the container. So not only there, you're producing GANs outside. I have a box full of these we collected. It's a small box. I don't know who collected. I think it was Armand collected it. And it's in our office. We have a glass cupboard in there. We put new things in it for historical values. We already collected this. We know this is just that to you, as I said, it looks strange or interesting, but we see in this, we know it, and we can explain it very easily. You have to change your hat from the matter to a plasma, and then it becomes very easy, because you're creating an environment. The same as the CO2, you create an environment to absorb CO2 from it, not necessarily be there. I've done something very interesting. I've told you this before, I don't know, is that at the driveway to the White House, at the corner, I have put a post and a hat tied up to it. Marco is smiling. And I say to Marco, Armand, and the knowledge seekers, when you pass this point, you see the hat, change your mind from matter to plasma. From this point on, you only think plasma way. And it helps sometimes. When you see conditions like this, stand still and say, okay, what does a plasma do? Is plasma limited to the matter and the water, or it goes beyond it? If you look at it in another way, is very much the water is the surface of the planet, and where you see the matter is within the magnetosphere of the water and the fields which are created inside it. You create a gravitational magnetic field environment in the water which expands beyond the water into the upper levels. And in so many ways, because of your electrode, you dictate the direction of this. It's very much like a cloud which has no connection with the base, but is connected because it came from it, it's within its gravitational magnetic field. So this is what you see, it's not something strange. We know, we collect it, and we can clearly explain it. Next CNN breaking news, please.
Yes, Rick, can you load the second picture, that _2? So basically, speaking about the heating system, yes, 2004-11-20. Power system. It says power system. Yep. One was with the GANs, _2. Okay, so it's loading. Okay, so I will go ahead.
I like the sophisticated systems. Your drawing looks like Da Vinci drawings.
We will do it professionally, but just to expedite our discussion or discussions. So basically, there are a couple of discussions on how people understand the heating system. So basically, in your star formation platform, if we add a rotating disk, so this disk is rotating just to position that arm in spherical coordinates. It's not having nothing in common with the spinning of the balls and stuff like that. So that arm will position in spherical coordinates. People understand that you have to have something like a dish, nano-coated, with a lot of sphere, probably nano-coated. So after, through your sensor, you determine the direction, the normal on the sphere, under which, spatial angle the resultant magnetic field goes out. You have to position that dish, so when the magnetic field hits that, it's going to create frictions, and you are going to get heat. And the second opinion from a gentleman in Germany. I'm taking the liberty to ask the question on his behalf. Is having another opinion. We have to put this dish inside the star formation structure, which I don't agree with. So because of these constructions will take a lot of time and money. Do you think that this popular opinion will work? So for like a home heater or space heater? And
Okay.
that will be the question.
Okay. First of all, what you have in drawing, we have built in our system already. If you've been on the live stream with a new system which is hanging, we had to change the frame back to the old frame because we could not see development of the fields to increase or decrease the weight or magnetic field. Inside where you see, it looks like before, the star formation is where you see it, but on the top plate, underneath of it, there is a white arm. We deliberately put this white arm before we close the structure. This white arm, it comes to use this week. In a way, what we're going to do is to bring a condition of the need for fields to be released. We will hang one of the aluminum cores which is sitting on the leg outside on this arm. Yes, exactly where the picture you have. If you look at that, you see it, you see the corner of it, where your arrow, circle arrow to start the video is, you see a little white on the left hand beam near the meter, you see a little white click. That arm has been built in to test and develop this type of thing. You see it, if you go very close, you see it on the top plate, underneath the top plate on the left hand side. You see not a straight board, you see like a 90-degree drop and it carries on, it becomes straight again. So this arm has a groove in it. No, up, 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 you go up, you're going down, you gotta go up plate, the top plate. If you go to the top plate, yeah, you see it there, and just the picture comes in. This arm has been put in, it's got a, I think it's about 0.5 meter plus, roughly about 50 centimeter, 60, 70 centimeter. In the center of this arm is about 40 centimeter, 10 millimeter groove right across, along it. That what we're going to do, we are going to hang a second core which is already running, you don't see it, is in the background, on this in an upside down formation, which at the beginning will be equal at height to the top core of the star formation, and then we lower it to the level to be parallel and equal to the free plasma position. This is important because then we can dictate the direction of the flow and motion of the system. This is the next step in the teaching of and development of the system. In the core which we hang, it should be done today or this week or early next week because everything is there. It's just got to find a way to hang it and measure it to be first in line with what. We can bring it as low as the three, what you call base cores to make a 4-corner pyramid. We have this facility availability. So what you're asking for, we already put into plan. It's already there. It's going to be tested. But what we are trying to do at the moment is to test the replication of the system as we did in the old lab, because now the system is isolated on its own. So this field will create gravitational magnetic field, and at the point where the fields interact and they are in a level to absorb and convert the energy of the fields, you will absorb heats and other materials like light, other conditions. So in the corner of your what I call Da Vinci picture, where you put a 90 degrees with a dotted line going in it, this will be tested, and then you can ask questions from Armand or Marco and they will explain it to you. This is very significant. You look at it from the energy point of view. If you go back on what is being posted by Dr. Ilya Kasawa about the health lecture tomorrow, which is to do with thalamus and the little bit which is hanging in your throat upside down, you call it the little tongue. This is the same process for the stability of the emotion in the human body. So we will transfer this knowledge, as you put it, and what we've shown it, as an upside down reactor in the coming weeks or coming days in the lab. We show the work of this in the human body because you have the same thing. So in the human body you have what we call
Here, a very
fluidity.
short question.
First,
Before you go there, very short question.
First, Lucien, maybe I should show that other picture you have of your apparatus that might be used to position the
reactor.
Yeah.
The additional piece.
Show that now.
It's
a funny kind of picture that.
Yeah, because on that bar you can literally come to the cores. Literally come to the cores and go all the way out by 50 centimeter. So
right, well,
it's on the floor scale.
Lucien has a different question.
Usually
Lucien has a different picture here. Oh, you don't want me to show that yet?
No, just a second. You can show it. So, Mr. Keshe, usually for heating a room, right? For every 20 square meters, you need about 5 kilowatts equivalent of power. So do you think that what he was talking about can deliver that amount, more, less? What you said that your reactors have about 40 grams of copper oxide gas. So do you think that radius of the spheres, I mean, people are concerned of heating their homes, so I'm just trying to sure, maybe we can work together, like 120 Teslas based on, I don't know, 20 milliseconds or whatever is the pulse width. I'm trying to evaluate what kind of energy you can get out of there from these 40 grams and maybe 10, 15 centimeters spheres. Do you have any kind of estimation?
Looks like we lost the SSI here for a moment. So just a moment, Lucien.
Guess your question was too long, Lucien. You should have shortened
or maybe the boys heard about eating.
Shortened a couple of words there or something. Okay, well, I can re-invite
Do you want to load that arm with the Coca-Cola bottle?
Yeah, I just had that up here.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a copyrighted picture, but there it is, and it's quite interesting. You could see the magnetic sensor or some sort of.
You can get the Keshe and Cola, isn't it?
You want hot Coca-Cola? You stick it in the reactor core. Yes. Hi.
We are back again. Somehow we got kicked out.
That tends to happen on this system, it seems, from time to time.
I don't know since when you lost it, but I will put it again. So I was saying at 40 grams of copper oxide gas and maybe 10, 15
go back to what did you hear from us? Can you tell me what you heard?
So you was finishing with that bar to collect power and materials. So at that point I was asking...
Power. Yes, let me explain. We are putting the second to concentrate the fields from the star formation and dictate which way we want the fields to move or be delivered and what we're going to use it for and at which point. So we got to make this clear. And as I explained, we see the same formation, the same process in the human body between the thalamus and what you call your little tongue in the back of your throat. This position we'll explain tomorrow in Dr.
Right,
Elias'
so my question was after that.
Yeah, go on, tell me the question.
Right, when it break. The question was this: people are concerned of hitting the homes, so I was asking you when it broke. If at 40 grams of copper oxide, GaNs and maybe 10, 15 centimeters diameter of the spheres, can you get somewhere in the range of 10 kilowatts of heat? Or because of heat we are speaking here until we'll get electric power? More or less?
You got to go back to something which all of you have missed, and we repeat it again to understand. This question, Gray, came up and distracted everything deliberately. You got to understand the people who sit around Keshe Foundation are paid to disturb and distract. And this, all of you, because of this disturbance by these people, threw you out of one of the most important understanding which answers your question. Go back into the laboratory, in the lab session 3 weeks ago. We have sent our equipment back for testing and it came back to be 100% correct. There was no need to do anything. Now, in the trial and the test we've shown, and you have a knowledge of the other laboratories working, to create a 129 Tesla or to create even 9500 Tesla by Las Almas laboratory in the United States, they needed 1.4 gigawatt of energy because they work in the electron field level. We have created now with confirmation that the tool is 100% correct. We created 129 Tesla with error factor of maximum 5% with 12 watt of energy. Again on impulses. And we have created, you have monitored it, you've seen it, 70, 80 Teslas with the same kind of energy. Two things you did not notice in this process because of this, what do you call it, the diversion which was put in deliberately by people who are not even credible to be on the site. First of all, is that every time you had compression of the field, due to the 4 bars which are sitting on top of the board between the frame and the board of the structure of the star formation, the field in not being able to reduce the weight because of the threads on the screws, condensed the fields, and as the fields were compressed, that they released the impulse. So you can create two things, motion and energy at the same time. You can dictate the direction of the motion and direction of the release of the energy. And if you have managed, and you've seen it here because we are live, you've seen the whole progress over 2, 3, what was it, week, 2 weeks. We have reached magnetic fields of the huge number with very little energy input. And even when we switch the motors off, you still could see the high level of field release. Now you have to find a way how to convert these releases to energies, heat, whatever you need, you want to use. So what you tell me
Yes,
that
this is the
you
question
need
of the
so
gentleman from
much,
Germany.
yeah, how much you need to heat up a room? Two things. Heating the environment, if you do not need it according to the level you need, will not be there because your body dictates. You set your system according to what you want your body to receive. 37 degree, 40 degree warmth in the environment. We are testing this process in the sound protection as part of the defense of the house because of the satellite conditions which is put on the frequencies which is put on the house. As you know, we announced it. And one of the reasons the tape you listen to, our American intelligence military are coming here to actually monitor this process. So You dictate, you do not need to warm the whole plasma of the solar system just because you have Earth looking at you in one direction. You're moving into the plasma technology. So you can create a condition in the room that where you are stays at the temperature which you need it. You preset your reactor to this condition, where you can have one corner of the room boiling and another corner freezing, because you dictate the field strength released and absorbed in the position. Again, as I said, go back to the corner of the entrance of the foundation and change your hat. You have to start understanding the total change which is about to come in fundamental way. So if you are thinking of you need so much energy to warm a room to be able to be, your systems will warm according to where you are and what degree you want the material to be in. This is the change. This is what you will understand. We've seen this, I've observed this for more than 6-7 years. I observed this one in Tehran in the first test when we start flying the system. I explain this to you in a very simple way. You've seen the big square bottom reactor, which came with me from Iran, given to me as a gift by the Iranian government when I left. You see, if you remember, there is a white small reactor behind it. Always been. It's the same color plastic with one inner core. This is what Arman put together. We can control through the test we did. We put the 2 reactors on the table in the lab, and I could change the field in any of the 4 cores. The one which was flat sitting on the floor, or the one which is a spherical rotating on its own. And I could dictate when the spherical core will fly off and in which direction, by changing the gravitational magnetism, just a small amount of gas, or repositioning the core according to the nuclear material which was positioned inside it. Because the pattern of the radiation field control is totally different than the GANs. With a GANs state, you have a very much balanced core spherical when you achieve it. With the nuclear, you can dictate where you want the indentation or where you want the leakage of the plasma. So when we place the nuclear material inside the core, we pre-planned, I always pre-planned what is going to be where and where I need a leakage. I could turn the reactor and see how the spherical reactor, using the big reactor as, let's say, the sun, how the other reactor with the center core, which was free rotation, will fly off. And then me and another person was in the lab with me, we tried to catch it like when you release a, what do you call it, a cricket ball or baseball. Because we start becoming good in knowing which way it'll fly, when we put the reactor on the table, in which direction. So then this brings you to the knowledge that now with GANs, you decide the fields, you don't need that much. You only decide this frequency or this strength, what you call it, of gravitational magnetic plasma is released for the human body. So the body doesn't roast on one side and heat on the other side. The environment in the room creates that condition. This will come and teach you as we go along. If you want a cup to be kept in a cool condition in one corner and you have a boiling water in the other corner, you can set up the condition too. I've tested this, it's beautiful, but if it's hard for you to understand, look at the structure of the solar system and the planets in it. How in the same vacuum or in the same condition as the room of the plasma of the solar system, our solar system, one planet boils and one planet freezes. And then how Earth...
So let me interrupt you just a second to clarify for the gentleman from Germany. So basically, after he's doing the star formation, he has to do a position mechanism, as I showed and as you show with that bar, and start to dimension the external sphere in dimensions and mass of gas, probably CO2 because it's absorbing better, in order to put it on the direction of the release of field, and the interaction of two fields will create really heat in that point of the room, because that was his
Yes,
question.
what happened? Yes, but what happened, what we've seen when we opened when I opened the reactors in Tehran after test, we could see burning marks inside the core, in the inner walls of the core, or on the inner core. Because when I open the reactors, just opening it, I observe everything. So what this means, in some point, the field has been changed to a heat that is burnt into in the copper or plastic, or the coating which we put in. So the heat transfer from plasma to heat that we see as a burning is very, very common. Then you can dictate it. I think I have 1 or 2 pictures somewhere I've taken, because when I left Tehran, I handed over all my pictures and videos to the authorities that I don't carry anything with me. So these are all they must be in the picture somewhere when we took in the lab. You can dictate the heating point or position of releasing enough energy that the matter cannot hold on to it, melts. So in a way you
Right,
create
but
your
keep
own
in mind
microwave.
that in your star formation system, you have air between the 4 spheres.
Yes, but
There's
again it goes
space.
back. No, wait, stop, Luciana. This goes back again, please change your hat. If you go back to the picture you showed first with the guns hanging on top of the water, goes back in that you do not consider only what is within or around immediate vicinity of the star formation. It covers the whole room, it covers the whole building, it covers the whole structure. This is important. So you do not necessarily need to be in the triangle of the spheres or in the pyramid of the 4 spheres to be able to heat up or cold or whatever. You create a plasma, you dictate the strength of the plasma and the dimension it covers. Here in the yellow house in the center, I have decided and I've dictated a 50-meter radius through the operation and for what I've done. So I have a 100-meter diameter cover. We've been away for a few days, so there was no disturbance or mixing of the fields in the house. And when we arrived this morning about 3:30, I immediately could feel the changes. And it took this morning when I got up to start the thing, because we start moving at a house, the field has changed. We've seen this for a long time in the lab. When we are not here during the weekends, we see different figures, and when we come in and we start moving around, everything changes. Marco is shaking his head. So it comes through disturbing and changing and flowing the material and the fields. So you will see this as a normal process. In a way, if you want to extend it, go back to the whole condition of the yellow and white of the yolk, and when it gets impregnated with the seed from the cock. You decide in that point, you change the temperature and the flow. Nowhere else the life starts around the yolk, except where that point is and the concentration has released. So temperature, the field transfer and the temperature in that point is decided. What happens if you go a step further in this process and explain the creation of life in the egg? The reason the chicken sits on it is to try to create or keep the envelope in the same temperature as what is happening in the layer between the yolk and the white. That the process goes faster. She helps it with sitting on it to confine the plasma from her body, because her body is a gun. So that's what it is. It's not to heat up, but to keep the field inside. That stays when the cross field between the white and the yolk, and leads to a release of the DNA formation, which that point releases to multiplication of the cells. You have to look at it that life doesn't start on the other side of the yolk somewhere else. It starts when the change has been brought in, when the difference in field has been created. So now you have your reactor or in the star formation, any formation in the center of the room. Now you become that little bit, the sperm, or what you call it, the egg of the seed, and you move around. The temperature stays around with you, and the room becomes part of it. One of the reasons we are putting this second reactor, or what I call the fifth reactor, in the position, hanging upside down, is to create directional flow and spread of the field around the system. What you do, you create a need for release of the field. And then through space technology, you dictate the direction of the motion. So the fifth reactor we added as a twinity star to the imaginary plasma, what we call free plasma, is for application, next step in directional motion for flight system. This is what I explained to you. We are getting ready for flight. Now this is part of the control mechanism of the direction of the flight. I cannot put everything on and just do it from the beginning. As the knowledge seekers and you're getting more and more familiar with it, now we're adding more and more to the jigsaw that the picture becomes complete. So in the future, then I explain to you how that imaginary reactor can create another imaginary field for control by the operator. That's why, in a way, the key in the hand of the operator, Marco and Armand, becomes the other position of that new triangle of the control. And this you will understand more tomorrow when we do the health teaching in control and dimension of emotion within the physicality structure of the human body. We start teaching very deeply, very rapidly, because we've seen the change in the mood of the governments and scientific organizations in respect to the development, especially after testing of the material in Africa regarding E. coli bacteria and Ebola, and then the Fukushima test which parallel confirms it, and now we're showing the release of the weight. So we are seeing requests and contact for further development in different directions around the world. So from now on it's going to be what we call it, not the way it has been, but different organizations will come with their own thoughts and their way they want to develop the technology, and you will see the application of technology very rapidly in the coming months. Will touch the life of every one of you in the way for heating, for cooking, for transportation. What's the reading on the live stream, on the scale? Is it still 13.4? It was 13.40 when we came in. How much is it now? It's 13.46 at the moment. So we are going in that direction. Next question. Oh, I see another picture. Wow.
Yes.
I think I'm done.
Thank you, Lucien. This a picture that was posted almost a day ago by Marcel Sweet. He's been doing some reactor configurations and GANs experiments and whatnot. And he has an actual question in his live stream. He's made this nice little reactor that you see in the middle there. I'll zero in on it so you can get a good look at it. Quite nicely crafted out of wood and ping pong balls. And he says, what do you think about the idea to convert parts of the free plasma from the star formation into electric current by using the shown GANs reactor on the right of this picture, which is filled with CH3 GANs? So he has his CH2 GANs reactor set up, and he also has a CH3 GANs reactor that has, he mentions using brushes on this coated central pin and on the uncoated foil of the GANS reactor filled with the CH3 GANS. So basically he's got a couple of brushes on that central CH3 GANS reactor that he wants to put in there. I don't know if you understand all that I'm saying there.
Yes,
No
I
doubt.
understand fully. I understand fully, and I know how Marcel works because I have contact with him,
Good.
and I understand how he has come up with this concept, and it's very much correct, because goes back just what I explained to you about the egg and the yolk and the white. By all the cores being in CO2, he has introduced a different gravitational magnetic field by CH3. You have 15 there. And if you look at CO2, you are 32 plus 12, 44. So the field strength, one is higher, one is lower. So the interaction of the fields he deliberately creates in that position should give you what you're looking for. But it depends if you convert the plasmatic energy to matter energy, which you want to use. So what is done is 100% correct. And he understands, and he has understood the whole understanding of, as Marco loves to say, gradient, field gradient. So the field gradient is from 44 to 15, which is more or less 3 to 1. So if it needs a slight adjustment, if you can do it and place it, for example, in a free plasma position or somewhere near outside it, you can decide which way you want the light go. Let me add something to this structure which Marcel has shown. We have already got the gadgets and the pieces to what do you call, make this one not as a ping pong ball, but a reality in testing. As I said, we have a new thing coming out. If Armin can put it together in next week or two, the 4 new reactors which has arrived here will be put in that position, that kind of condition. But Armin at the moment has got them on a flat plate, and we had a discussion, they can't be on a flat plate. The 3 has to be spherical the way Marcel has shown it. And I think it's good to send this link to Armin to see it, because what was thought that if you get the spherical reactors, a ball, a plastic ball, and we could position the 4 reactors in the same condition as Marcel has shown, we should be able to create a cell of, let's say, amino acid. And then this way we can change and dictate and see behavior of the plasma as a microbe or as a molecule. We have, I think if you put a camera, we can show you, it's already on the table. And it's very simple. It's a light system where we can hang a reactor exactly the same as Marcel in the top, and other reactors can be positioned underneath that. We get a spherical condition as is done. And it's very correct. He has understood the principle fully. All he's doing is creating gravitational magnetic field potential difference. Have we lost it? Are we there? Can you hear us? Can we be heard?
You're here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
You're live. The thing is, that's okay. We are not in. Okay, we're gonna change for what you've seen to a different camera.
Just get to find the window here. Okay, now if you can
Have
bring
you gone
up
live with it? No. What we're trying to show you.
I got my audio back here now. If you can bring up your camera, that'd be great. Sure.
Yeah, we're gonna show it to you. Okay, what it is, this is the sphere. We try to bring it up that you can see it. without showing anything else we don't want you to see. Can I have those two reactors there, please? So what happened, this is the same kind of contraption where this reactor will fit into the center, and then we have the other reactors are with Arman. We showed it in the lecture on Sunday or Monday. So you see
I
the system will go.
don't have a picture yet. Are you trying the camera now?
We can put that on. There, you gotta use. Can you put a link on it? Can you put a? Can you see us?
No video yet.
No video. Marco is doing his best. Just give him a chance.
Okay.
Nope, no video here either.
We should be there on the setting. Go on this here. I think you gotta do. Yeah, we see it ourselves, but you can't see it. Okay, I think it's coming up now. We forgot to switch on the Skype. Do you see it now?
It's coming.
It's coming. There we go.
Yeah. So what you see.
I got it.
Yeah, you got it. So what you see in the base is we don't have the other two with us because we should have 4 copper. Where is the other 2 coppers? There's 4 copper reactors. There's one somewhere. So what happened? The 4, it could be in the bowl. Could it be in that spherical bowl? Or is it the Arman somewhere? He's carrying the 3 balls with him. So what happened? This is what you've seen with Marcel. These 3 reactors will sit. These are the new reactors which has arrived. You've seen the pictures before. So they sit at the platform bottom in a star formation base. And then you have the 4th one which hangs on the top in a reverse, exactly like the way we have seen with Arman. So you have the 4 reactors and the star formation, and we try to put this into a spherical container which behaves and becomes very much like a microbe or molecules. Then we can dictate a lot of things in respect to how things will be. We can change the speed of rotation of each core, see how the field around the molecule changes. We can change the density and see the interaction between the different cores and the density we have created. So this is the next version.
Mr. Keshe, would that be able to be put under vacuum? You could at least.
We think so.
You could at least add gases to it. You could add, say, argon atmosphere inside, or some other gases. It might be useful.
This is the plan. Marco is shaking his head. This is what we're gonna do. It's already, because what we're going to do, or what the plan is as part of it. You want to show your core, please? Your metal core. If you go back, I don't know if you've seen this, if you can remember, about 5 or 6 months ago, when we started it, this is Marco's core, which was used. If you just move your camera out of the side there, this is the core which we used. Marco built and brought with him to the institute. So what the plan is, in a way that. So what we do, we place these cores, if we can make the right formation for it, inside this core, this sphere, and then we can change the condition of the vacuum or the material inside the core because it'll be sealed. This is the next step. Most probably after Christmas, sometime after Christmas, we will be able to go to this stage. Then we can change, we can add liquid, anything we like, change the density, of the environment and the material inside it. So we have everything here. It's just a matter of time to develop and make the systems for it. So what happens is literally, this is what you will see with Marcel in wood, but I've got to find a picture for you that you can see it. This is what is here in reality, and all the motors, everything for it is here and is going to be set up. Then we can learn more about the whole change. The beauty with this is, as I've asked Armin when he goes back, hopefully for the holidays in the next few weeks, is to go down to 1 centimeter diameter. These are 1 inch diameter. We are going to 1 centimeter diameter, and maybe after that to a smaller size dimension. That we have the facility in Eastern Europe now to produce this kind of cores, hopefully in the coming days, that we can make small spheres, very much like the protein, as a plasma that we can embed into certain medical systems. That we can create the replication of, let's say, a cancer cell, and how it is. We find the magnetic gravitational field of this cancer cell, and we can replicate a twin in reverse that we can change it very rapidly. These are what is coming up, but it's part of the development and technology, and the people who are joining us in research are there at different levels in different companies and governmental levels with us. So what you've seen as a, are we online? What you see as a wood drawing with Marcel, it is a reality here, because don't forget, by the time you get to think about it, we already thought about it in so many ways, and we see it how it'll be done. The whole process is ongoing.
I've got a question from somebody that's appropriate now. It's regards fine-tuning the GANs and plasma fields with our intention. And the question goes, in the process of fine-tuning the GANs plasma fields of the reactors with our intention, is it necessary to have a particular vibrational alignment with Om? You know, Om, the Om chant, or Om. He says, my clear intuition is yes. This is from Michael. And he says, if so, does this vibration alignment relate to a synchronizing of biological reactor structures within our own body? For example, the harmonious interplay between our heart, thymus, and the eye of Horus structure, and the regulated or calibrated through our breathing and lungs. So Om, the universal tone vibration of equality, it's called. The foundation pulse of universal being. And that's the general context of his question. So basically he's saying, would it be useful to have to align with this Om vibration?
I don't know, you realign and let us know.
Okay, there we go.
Because what I always say, vibration, frequency, and these things are in the matter level. And depends what you have, what you create. Somebody had started the reactor somewhere. We got to explain something. There is a lot of what I call soul searching going on here in the foundation. There is a lot of questions getting asked among the knowledge seekers, and now that is we have a part-time knowledge seeker since the accident with Caroline. That she's asking a lot of questions in the regard that she always been regarding the soul, and in the process, especially in past 4 or 5 days, us being together more or less 24 hours a day due to our trip. I can say 9.9% of the question is about the interaction of the soul and the human body, and we spend a lot of time talking and explaining how the soul of the man is connected, and how it's controlled, and how it works, and how you can see it. So I have started this interaction because to Armin and Elia and Caroline and Marco, the question to answer about the soul is more important. I keep on telling them read book number 9, but they want an insight into book number 9 before it's written completely. So your physicality, the soul and the emotion does not have Hertz frequency because it works in a plasmatic magnetic field direction. It has a magnetic gravitational frequency in respect to each other, but not at the matter level that you do it unless you change the emotion in the gravitational magnetic of the emotional part when it converts into the matter condition for movement. And then you come into frequency. And then you decide what you want to let go and what you want to be seen to be. And then you understand the interaction when the emotion cannot be understood or it differs through the information received through the soul with the physicality, and the vice versa from physicality to the emotion is what we call anger. Because the two cannot, so there's a conflict between the two sides. Maybe for the first time you can understand what anger means. Anger is what you conceive and perceive in your emotion, in its strength, plasmatic magnetic field strength, does not match with what comes through the physical part, be it the ears, being the eyes, being the touch, being the feeling of understanding the information arrives. Then maybe this answers your question. Next question.
So, Mr. Keshe, I'd like to show just a little bit. I've been doing some tests with what Rick was showing there with my little plasma spinning reactor.
With your team or on your own?
This is on my own. This is Vince. So I started spinning it at 2,000 RPM instead of 790 something, just to see what would happen. So I took a little video of that. So can I show that, Rick? Do you think I can try?
Sure, absolutely, Vince.
Always think so.
Let me know when you see it, Rick, okay? It's on. Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think we're on here.
So this was the reactor you said somebody started up. I turned the volume off. So I noticed with Armin, you guys are using an aluminum and a kind of copper core. I just had it's not a ping pong ball, but it's a small yellow plastic sphere. And I put some CO2, or actually some zinc GaNs and some copper oxide GaNs in it as well. And so I've been spinning it and playing with that for a couple of weeks now. And so just here a couple of days ago, this weekend, I decided to try turning the drill press up to 2,000 RPM. And one of the first things I noticed in there is that that was different than at the 798 RPM, was that there is a cylindrical tube on the inside. And I spoke to Rick about it, and we were trying to determine, well, what could it be? And that would be the place where there is a vacuum, as well as the plasmatic magnetic fields due to the rotation of the GaNs in the sphere. So you can see that it does shake a little bit. The shaking doesn't seem to matter at this point. But I was just trying to get to that cylinder. You can see it right in the center. Can you see that, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, I can see it. I can
Okay,
see the
good.
ball, but I can't see the sphere. There is a shadowy thing in there. I think we can see your face better in there.
Certainly, in our mind's eye, we can envision a cylinder that would form
Yes,
at a
but
certain RPM.
this,
But like I was
this
talking with Vince, we figured it would probably be water vapor inside that.
there was no bubble. Let me get you through this one step at a time. There was no bubble left in the system when you sealed it.
That's the idea, right?
That's right.
Okay. What happens, because you have a GANS, you create a field condition center. This bubble you see in the middle is the same as what we put the pin in the middle of the reactor core. If when you use a GANS, it's not a matter. So the fields, it is exactly what we explain as a hollow ring, magnets.
Right, exactly. That's exactly how I've been thinking about
This
it.
is, yes, we've seen this is scientifically correct. So what you do, you create a gravitational magnetic field in the ring of your CO2 or your GANS, and these fields have to balance out, and it comes to a point that leads to creation of the what you call empty spaces vacuum. What you have in the center there is a total absolute vacuum, but is created according to the balance of the CO2 which has created it. I create this in the center of the cores very directly by putting the nano-coated layer. This separation is how vacuum created in the universe.
Right, but you've also said that the
field.
matter that's inside that dictates of what strength it can be, and there is no matter inside of this.
No, but there is, because you have the water. Water at the point of interaction is matter. Behaves like a conductor, behaves like a what you call a matter itself, but in fact is a plasma. And if you play with it, you can dictate the direction of the field or the vacuum, and then you can dictate the what you call direction of the release of the energy from the ball. This is how the total vacuum we create. This is one of the reasons maybe answers a lot of people say if the center of the sun is hollow, or the center of the earth is hollow. There is certain amount, because as I explained with the iceberg last time, as the ice melts, it changes the volume, it's there. This is created through the balance of the gravitational magnetic field of your material, which you have inside. You push the material and there is no matter because it's fields, so fields interact. In the center of that is very much like a principal level. It's like a ring magnet. You create the ring magnets out of matter by higher speed, and it's very correct. Don't forget, I stopped
So
with the ping
I will
balls about
continue to
7
do.
8 years ago.
Just as an aside first, Vince, we had this clever idea that if you were to have it spinning like we see in the picture there now, you would essentially have your two kinds of ganses arranged in a gravitational configuration. They're pressed in a certain way. And what if we let the drill press keep running in Vince's very cold shop where it gets down to 30 below, and what if the water freezes the GANs in that position? Would not be an interesting position to be in, let's say?
It won't freeze. I've tried. It won't freeze.
Yes,
the cells have frozen,
because
but the sphere doesn't freeze, and it always maintains a higher than zero temperature, according to touch.
Because you are dealing with the gas, you're not dealing with matter.
Well, in that case, you've got a heater.
You don't have a heater, you got a balancer of fields.
Well, it'd be hot. It would be warmer than the
How did you
surrounding
freeze
temperature, would it not?
it?
Well, we couldn't.
How did you freeze it?
He wasn't able to freeze it. That's the whole point he was saying.
No, I mean, what condition did you put it in?
No,
outside.
My cells. No, that's in my shop here, which is at ambient temperature, which has been minus 20, 29 Celsius lately. So the GAN cells that I have underneath, I was using to create the aluminum GANs. Those froze almost solid, except for the bottom where there was GANs, of course. But the sphere never got that cold.
No, because
so minus 30.
Balance. Yeah, you've been hit with the Northern America freeze. From Hawaii to God knows North Pole, you're all frozen at the moment, as I hear. You're all shaking.
Oh, but it's Canada. This is normal.
Yeah. It's I read the Hawaii is even chilly at the moment. We're reading it on the way coming up. No, the whole process is when you go, even the water which is within the sphere magnetic field of the GANs, as I said before, the water in the body, it behaves like a GANs material. We discussed this before here with the knowledge seekers. Your GANs stays in balance with what it carries. So most probably if you go to minus 300-400 degrees, you might see some changes. But that will be again trying to reach the matter. The water become a GANs of the water. It's not matter anymore. So that's why you see this behavior.
Right, because I was going to use this as a...
Let me explain to you something interesting. Try to make 4 of these and try to replicate the star formation. It'll cost you less than 10 cents or $10. And then you have, because the sphere, the hollow sphere inside, has a field difference gradient in respect to the water and to the CO2, you will find you have already reached gravitational condition.
Right, so I have, my project is, I have 4 ping pong balls that I'm going to be putting aluminum GANs in, and use this other sphere.
Keep all this is what I explained before in the other workshop. I explained this to Armin regarding loading of the reactors too. Make a standard for feeding and loading up your spheres. Make yourself a cup and make that a standard for when you take so much from this cup, a blank sheet and a perfect hemisphere with your fields and gravitation. This is what I keep on saying to you. You don't need this expensive
that's what I'll do with the 4
reactors. Yeah, but make 5 and make 6 reactors. Don't make 4. While you're at it, add 2 more in, and then I'll tell you what you can do and how you can operate it. The 2 will give you a huge security problem. There is something which I was talking about, the security. I'm going to divert because otherwise I'll forget. I have seen articles being sent to me, released by veteran newspaper. And I've read the article, and this has to go back. We gave our opinion at the time when it happened. This goes back to the Russian government to discuss. The same as what we went with the Iran. We do not get involved in these kind of things, but we announce it when it's our position. To my knowledge, and from what I received from the security forces, the technology for peace application is in and has been used several times in the past few weeks. And it is for the advantage for the humanity. The process which you show with a ping pong ball, if you can correct it and apply it the right way and understand what you're doing. As I said in the meeting with a small conference with the people, influential people we were in the past few days. At the moment, the Italian government imports huge amount of fuel every day, as this country is not fuel sufficient. They hardly have any oil. As I said in the meeting, if you understand what you just said, Vince, the demand of the Italian government, the Italian nation for fuel, because now they have the whole technology in so many ways, in the coming 12 to 24 months will be total zero from Middle East. There will be no need for importing any fuel. Even the manufacturers, the people who are in the turbine and energy production, the response was very simple sentence. I told this to Armin. We don't want to touch this heap of metals, what they call it, turbines, because they realized the new technology and they understood the influence of it. With what you've created, if you understand and do it, because I always said, I'll let you to go a step further, then I follow to teach you. You have moved away from these little games of GANs play. You start making structures, be it with what you just shown with yours and what we've seen with Marcel and what we have shown you here. We are on the verge of delivering the first cars without fuel. I'll let you to show it. You've shown something very important if you understood. We follow as usual to show you the next step. You have shown, if you understood, Vince, a very fundamental breakthrough in the world of the energy, motion, and development of the motion within the atmospheric condition program. We are very clear. We did not show it. The knowledge seekers have shown, we follow. And it's strange enough, you show this now, where we discussed it on the Monday meeting in public in Italy. And I said to them, if you do not move, at the moment you work like God knows what to pay for import of fuel from anywhere. Total fuel consumption of Italy should become to zero within 24 months if they follow. And I come here and today you show this. You have achieved a great breakthrough, or you understood by accident or by your intelligence that if you can apply this in a correct way with a ping pong ball, less than a few dollars, put it in the box, follow what Marcel has shown, what I got on the camera now. You should be able to reach production of energy and what our friend Luciana was just talking about. In a way, what you have shown, if you understood the application of that central point, you have entered a true plasma condition for lift and motion.
I think I'm pretty smart, and
I
think this is where the
you're smarter than the scientists in Las Almas, put it that way.
I think this is where the pressure cooker comes into play, is it not?
What?
The pressure cooker. It can be used as a box, could it not?
Bravo, yeah, there.
Yeah, Rick bought for $5 one to be code.
There are some in the second-hand shops for $1 or $2 because they didn't know how to use it. But the bindings. This is the story of what we said with 2 mobile phone. People were waiting for it to drip from, what do you call it, energy and water, till they realize it's the battery. Once you have entered very much in the true level of plasma technology. And it comes from observation. And it comes in so many ways, following and observing the change. Because you do not need the nanomaterial, but we had to keep, and we keep that way. I told you, you break open, I open the safe. Then you see what jewels are kept inside. Follow the pattern. It won't, you are not, if you understood what you've done, you are days away from the first lift. Understand,
Yeah,
go
it's
back.
all about working and getting it all put together, right?
Yeah, a ping pong ball and some guns, yeah. A ping pong ball and a guns, and look at the Marcel's design. Do not lock your system. This is a discussion I had with with Armin last week here. We went shopping for the new spherical reactors, which I said, and Armin always let people do things because then it's not dictatorship, as some people would like to call it. Then it allows them to understand the process. And I explained to Armin that you have to leave your reactors in an open space to change them, like a ring magnet on the floor, or a ring magnet sitting on the side, standing on the side, or floating in the air. Marcel's situation, you see with the stick hanging, has reached the magnets on the table. With what you've done, you've achieved the magnet plasma freely rotating within the sphere of other magnetic fields. If you understand what you have achieved, I congratulate you.
So here's the where it can lead is that since the ring magnet, quote unquote, is already in the sphere and created, then it doesn't need to be spun anymore. It can still be put into a certain formation. Is that right?
In a way, but you have to understand how you do it. You have to create the favorite word of Marco, gradient. If you understand, becomes the feeder. You have created the free plasma as we do between the star formation within center of the core. This is a deep space plasma technology. You touched it, you come across it, I open the books. It will not boil either, because the water is not in a matter state. Due to gravitational magnetic field of the belt which you have created, the water behave and is a gas state. It will become irrelevant except at the point of the touch to the surface in some points. This is very much how your gas sticks to your skin and you grow. So if you can keep it that way, one of the ways to make sure 100% sure, which doesn't happen, wash your gans thoroughly of any salt. And wash you use a pure water. Try to distill water in a way that you have no contamination, and your syringes. Because if you introduce a small amount of matter, then you start the whole cycle. Most probably in the coming time, you will see like granules at the bottom of your sphere at the physical matter gravitational.
And okay, just to let people know in live stream that this is part 2 of the 37th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. We had a little interruption there. Okay, go ahead. I think we're okay.
So, what you've done and what you've shown, Wins, is you have walked away, or in a way you got to the next step of development of the gravitational system. If you could create a right balance field around your reactor, even the single one as you see it, you should see the light inside or around your reactor. You should be one of the first people on this planet seeing the what we call the bright light in the sky. If you achieve the hollow and you can create the right environmental field strength, you should be able to see the first bright light in the sky. You're ready for lift. But you got to understand how to achieve it and how to do it. Because the interaction you have created, the gradient you have created, is an atmospheric matter gradient in respect to the GaNs of a heavy element. So somewhere in between the rings inside your, if you have it transparent as you see you have, you should be able to see the first bright light in the sky. You've made the first light bulb. But look for it, understand it. If you don't achieve it, you have to adjust a few small parameters in the density of your copper oxide and CO2, or add CH3 that it gives you a better clearance. But
how about the aluminum GaNs? I think that's pretty close to the CO2 though, right?
in a way, but please note everything down step by step, especially the time factor. You have achieved the ultimate goal of lift, but you don't see it. Just adjust your system.
Yeah.
You got to go into the star formation to have a control, to have the lift complete, but you have achieved the breakthrough. Because you have managed to change the matter into a field, and as you see it, it doesn't freeze. And at the same time, the energy balance comes. Now try to do something very interesting. Who has handled these materials? Is it just you or some other people?
Only me.
Only you. Okay. Try to make a smaller sphere of the same thing, mixture, and try and hold it in your hands. Don't demand and don't pressurize. You will find you achieve lift. Your desire becomes the reality of the lift. If you push, you find resistance. If you ask, it's the way what I was telling Armor, you will reach lift exactly. Try to attach your system to a wooden or a plastic structure. Then
Well,
you
hopefully my
should be
drill
able to
press
see
won't
that.
fly away.
No, it should not do. It has a connection with your soul. You have created it.
Well, hopefully it won't fly to heavy.
No. It stays where it is, don't worry. It stays where it is. So just follow the same. You have moved away from GAN's gameplay.
Yeah, I've been trying to think a lot about it and just take into consideration all the information that I have, because I think I have a lot. As you said, I've been on every Knowledge Seeker workshop, and I think every other one too. And you learn a lot.
You have achieved a major breakthrough. And as I said, I let the knowledge seekers do that. I don't need to be killed. Now they got to kill all of us. So just understand what you've done. You mix
Don't let my
the
wife
two.
hear that.
Now we are all safe. You bought the insurance policy. The boys in NASA are jumping up and down. How stupid we were. We should have done this before. So maybe I give you a hint. Jesus, how are we going to do this? You created the GaNs in one layer with CO2 and one layer with GaNs of copper oxide. Read the paralyzing of the naval boats of the American Navy with one aircraft flying at close and one aircraft standing at distance. Now you got your answers for American security is how you've been paralyzed. The plasma sits inside your craft, inside your boat. All Russians have done, they have made it to happen. Exactly what you've done in the center core of your ping pong ball. If you read the reports at the time when the American boat was paralyzed, there were two crafts. One standing still far away or flying in the distance, and second in a formation. Two matter, two conditions, the field 0 point in the ring, the craft itself. Nothing was done by the Russians. You became the trap of your own magnetic field. All they did, they enforced it, they showed it where they wanted. The way you increase the power of your ping pong ball, and the sphere in the middle appeared. Now maybe intelligence people understand how the game of war is finished. Read the report. It's not one flight, there is not one craft, there were two crafts. One a distance as a support and one flying parallel near. So the boat became itself the hollow
Right, that's
sphere.
the one that they. Sorry,
5th
so
of
that's
May
the one that
accident.
they flew over 12 times. Then.
Yes, they
So
enforced.
basically they were enforcing the condition by using the twinity of the same system in the other craft and basically pulling the gravitational magnetic field towards each other.
No, just creating the condition to be focused at the boat.
Right,
You understand? So now, don't forget that the Russians received the key at the same time as the Americans. The Americans denied it because it was to their benefit for the scientists to keep their PhDs and professorship, and the Russians developed it. And now they have the tools of means of doing it. I give a warning to the people who are planning games in Ukraine. Your tanks will not even go because you won't have the facility to even fire. The Crimean War should not start because the only winner out of it, with what Russians have shown, will be the Russian nation. No electronic gadgets will be able to fly and cross their shield. Maybe this shows the power. You have touched something very important and you do not realize what it is. And I open it because I know the space scientists and military scientists are watching this program, as you heard the conversation earlier on with their own in the radios. Now what you have created, what they have created in May, you have shown it in practice. But you have to understand what you've done. As I said, with this technology, all the latest weapon technologies are obsolete. And a simple man with a knowledge, correct knowledge like you, has shown it, not me. And anybody can practice it and test it. You're frozen, it will not freeze because it's magnetic field. You cannot freeze magnetic fields. And you cannot freeze gases which got magnetic field, even as matter, crossing across them. The game of war game is over, and the Russians have shown it, the Iranians have shown it. Now, as I said, the man on the street will bring this knowledge to the governments to enforce its power, and you've done it. I congratulate you. You achieved something very fundamental, and it had to be done by you because we already achieved it. We have shown its power. Now people show it.
Thank you. I try. Try to add to the knowledge of humanity.
We'll see where we go. I think our security people, the people who are on the forum and on the background listening, this is a very big blow into weapon technology at the present, electronics, because electrons work in a very weak state, and the plasma at this state is very powerful. And jamming of military equipments with this technology is absolutely child's play. You've shown it. The only thing is you don't have is the measuring tools of measuring to show how far, how deep you can go and how it can be done. What you've done, if you can understand, it can reach 30-40 kilometers. And because it's plasmatic, it's harmless. We receive it all the time from the universe. So...
Could that be a reason why I feel calm when I'm around my lab now?
You find balance. You find peace. Caroline says the same. I have set up the same thing for protection. She says, as I come to the landing, I feel the change. So now we're extending the cover to the whole of the building. In the next few days, we change it that the whole cover, because we protected certain areas. We knew they were planted materials and they caused what you call poisoning. Now we extend it to the whole of the building in the coming days.
Keshe, can you give us a little bit of a hint on how that system works, what the technology is, what kind of devices you use, or whatever? Is there something you can tell us about that without revealing the security, aspects of it that you wouldn't want to talk about?
The field strength is above any electronic system which can be made by man. So everything is subordinate, everything becomes a slave into the sphere. In a way, you need to do this in a space. It's always say, look, and it's within you. The security parameters is very simple. If you can understand the structure, you use the structure for the benefit of yourself, for the condition you want to create. That's all we done. We receive telephone frequencies, we receive other frequencies, but the frequencies which is put on the telephone line to harm, it gets automatically blocked. If you look at all our laptops in the labs around the area, all have come on the same kind of process. I think, thank you very much. I think my tea for morning. Thank you. I think if you can test the strength of the hollow ball in your system, and you can dictate the size and the strength of it with a mixture you choose for your organs, then you dictate the influence of the space you will cover. The range cover in a space is up to, or you can go beyond several hundred thousands of kilometers. You might think it's too very big, but you have to understand when you travel at speeds several times the speed of light, then you need these kind of things to clear the path in the front. So this is what you can do. You can create it stays the structure of your body. Doesn't harm you because your body is at a certain gravitational magnetic field according to the strength of the amino acid. So anything above it and below it passes you. It's like what you call neutrinos. And then you might understand when we speak about the heating of the body, how come you don't get cold and the heat will be where you are. This is exactly what happens. The defense technology is not for defense, it's for actually protection of man in space. And try to increase the size of your center point by extracting the water from the system. But don't extract all of it because then you don't have the flow. Because you need that. It's like the softness of a tissue. When you cook the meat, you need it to be like jellish for the course to slide and the fields to be able to maneuver and find their space. That's yours.
So I could layer these GANs. Sorry, Rick.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I could layer these GANs as I already have a layer of copper oxide and a layer of CO2. I could take the water out, put copper oxide back in, and it will layer on top of that CO2.
Yeah, but if you make it too heavy, then you find out you get a switch back to front. Then your problem starts. Then you roll.
I was going to
you have.
Go ahead.
Go on.
I was going to suggest, what if some other liquid was substituted, maybe even a lighter liquid like alcohol or some other
irrelevant.
fluid?
It's irrelevant. Whatever you put, because you have established the the magnetic field gravitation between the two layers. This happens when you have a mixture material and you achieve the mixture material. When it happens, the mixture material lenses centrally and it goes back lenses outward. So now what you received is the magnetic field vacuum condition. This is how vacuum is created in space. I told you months ago, you do not need vacuum systems. Now for the first time you've seen it. When I teach here to the knowledge seekers with the ring magnets, I always tell them the power, the source of magnetic field in this ring sits in the hollow, right in the center of the ring, which is hollow. You have achieved a huge, huge, huge demonstration of power of the technology. And I'll tell you something, if there are boys in NASA and in Lockheed Martin listening, boys, it's time to change the systems back to making peace systems, because everything you made is obsolete. Literally obsolete with a little ping pong ball. Can be captured, can be capsulated, and can be made above the field of electron which you need, and then it's done. As all of you know, most probably, those of you who are close to security services, NASA has a front and NASA has a military section. And most of the black financing comes through the military section of NASA. You need a special clearance to go through these systems. I know because I was cleared to be able to see it. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. In so many ways, NASA space military boys tonight will shake in their shoes and in their socks. They've been trying, they've been testing, but they could not understand it. Now we know internally what you're up to, some of you private or public. Now a man on the street has shown how knowledge is simple. Propulsion lab shut down, unfortunately. It is very important. You got to understand how you can develop this further. Let me explain something to you because it's become very apparent. A lot of people are chasing to develop the GANs. They develop this and they do the GANs material, small powers or whatever it is. And some of you have moved to the next stage like Vince and others. We need it. It's not that you are behind. Every step is needed to be understood by totality and in steps one at a time. But because the step is going that way, you are there. In the coming days, you can ask from the Keshe Foundation for triple plates, which means you can have 2 copper coated or a copper zinc and a copper coated, that you can simultaneously produce zinc copper oxide and CO2 what do you call it, GANs, that you can start building the systems which Vince has shown. So this was planned for January, February. I thought by that time some people will reach this point because we planned it to show it here and I know people will follow it. With Vince taking this step, we bring that forward maybe next day or 2, we'll put it on the website that you can buy 3-plate set. Then you can make your first motion energy reactors directly with a ping pong ball. I always said, you show the way, I open the door. And now you've seen it. And I said, before Christmas we'll fly. Vince, you got 2 weeks.
Okay, no problem. No pressure.
No. You have reached the plasma conditioned vacuum space.
There is no pressure in plasma. That's what I mean.
No. Yeah, but the thing is, there is no pressure, it's a pleasure. Others who already produced
Mr. Keshe,
different
before you go,
gases. Let me explain, please, 1 second. If you have produced gold GaNs and CO2, do the same. You achieve the same thing. If you use the aluminum nano GaNs material and copper, do the same, you achieve it. It's creating the right gradients to focuses inside, that then it goes backwards out to itself. You literally create it and become so much in the center that your GaNs itself becomes covered by it. So because the power is more, this is how solar systems create their magnetic gravitational field. And this is how planets do. And if you go back on the Spanish teaching, I explained I do not believe a solid core in the earth of this planet. That's exactly, now you've seen it. The soul of the man and the body of man is getting ready for the ultimate move, and we are there, and this is fantastic. What you've shown, and the scientists understand it, and they can develop it. Doesn't matter if you have two GaNs, and the difference is big enough or narrow enough, you will create the central ball cavity, the ring. And then you understand, once it goes in, as I call this lensing, you feed all the fields into the center because it's getting stronger. Then the field itself opens up, that your GaNs become part of the inner structure. So you feed the center and the center feeds out. You create gravitational magnetic field plasma, as we said it. And then the strength which you create on two layers decide the size of your craft. Now you have to follow what I showed earlier with what Luciana said, and showed what I call the drawings. You can then use, as I said, create 5, not 4. Then you can decide the direction of the flow of the system. Make it on a spherical system. You can put it in your car, you can put it on the plate, you can put it on the table. Everything is, from this minute on, everything on this planet is flyable. Even your cups can fly, if you can understand this. You have achieved a marvelous breakthrough, or opening up the technology to public. Yes, but you can do
That's part of
that because
positioning, isn't
this.
it?
Yes, the thing is, I have explained this to Marco and Armin when we were setting the reactors, that we have to put these on rotating, what do you call it, bearings. That by changing the direction or rotation, because you can buy, we have them, we've seen them here. You buy bearings which are, they are uh, locked into a frame, that you can change the position and different angles of it. In 1 or 2 reactors, we already use such a thing. You don't need to turn it, but in a way, you have to realize that your sphere inside, your ring inside, or a sphere of magnetic field inside has already got the capability to do that. You just gotta change that. You don't look at the physicality of changing the position of the ring. Use, now that you got to this stage, to concentrate the 4 inner core rings, plasmas, in the direction you want. And then you achieve lift in the direction you want. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. It's amazing what you achieved if you understand it. And if you can do what you have achieved to create that free ring inside, what we call a free plasma inside, I'll see you for Christmas in Italy. It should take you 10 minutes.
Here you go, Vince.
It is fantastic what you've achieved. I congratulate you again because it's absolutely, in a way, you brought the roadmap of 2014 forward by 6 weeks.
Hey, Vince, I'll race you to Italy.
Be careful your prime minister doesn't. Be careful your prime minister doesn't hear that, huh?
Yeah.
That's right.
Mr. Keshe, I'm building a setup. I built a frame a couple of days ago, and I have all the motors and everything set up. I just have to put my reactor spheres on it, but it's 8 reactors. I have 4 on top and 4 on bottom. I wanted to know what kind of system that's going to produce.
I don't know. You will tell us.
Okay.
Because you work with what it is. I know for one thing is now that you have managed to create what are called free plasma and a free magnetic field environment inside these cores. Now you understand how you done it, I hope. This, in so many ways, shows how the American drone was captured. I put that to the security people who are your friends to understand.
So that means you're relating this to the dual core nuclear reactor there.
Ask the Iranian scientist. You can expand, increase. That is so rapid. The lensing of the plasma is so rapid. If you can control it, you become part of it. We are part of this process in the center of the planet. So it's part of the process. We know. Now you achieved it. I created it with what I call the pin, nano-coated. And I said to Armin some time ago, in time we have to take the pins out. Because then when we mix it, it comes to this point. Now you achieved it. We show its proper application in the coming days. And if you can apply it as a transparent or outside the boundary of your core, you see the bright light. You should see the bright light. What it is, you haven't tuned it fine enough to lens it back out. You're on the CO2 level.
Are you saying that there should be or should not be a central pin like in Vince's design that we see
It
there?
shouldn't be. It should not be. You don't need a center pin because now you achieved. This is what I said to Arman before. It will be taken out in time, but now you achieved it and you've shown it. This was the next step before Christmas we were hoping to do. So now you've shown it, we open it because we have more facilities than you do. We have all the setup. We can literally stop the course today and reload, huh, Marco? We have enough CO2 carbon oxide, yeah. Maybe we'll see that as well. You got to understand what this condition creates. This condition allows you to, if you understand the gradient between the two, to create gravitational magnetic field of any matter. Because now it's you who dictates what that center plasma is. Pardon?
Sorry, I got a bit of delay there for a second. I was just thinking about that while you were talking, and if we relate this back to the patents and all the knowledge that we received from the books and everything before this, the CO2 is a lighter gravitational magnetic field strength than the copper oxide, yet the copper oxide is on the outside. So that would mean that it would create that double magnetic field in the center, creating that gravitational magnetic field due to the interaction of the lighter and the heavier plasmas.
That's all you've done. This is the favorite work of Marco. gradient.
And this is easy to do because as long as you have a gradient or a higher and a lower, they will work themselves out when you spin it.
In a way, yes, but if you can make a free spinning, you should see that your plasma will float indefinitely. And it's very easy. If you go and follow it and just don't follow the matter and start understanding the plasma, I will give you lunch for Christmas in the Sensano. You should be able to create the lift, the energy, and the protection simultaneously, as the Earth does. As I said, this has come the wrong time for security people. This will throw a big spanner, if this scientific world has listened to it, into the peace talks. Because now what you have shown opens a lot of things for worldwide security and national armies and military, that they become obsolete. And the second time, as we heard, if you know how to use this, add to it the way we do, understanding the structure of the psychological and pattern. Half of the people are carrying the arms, they don't understand why it's in their hand. You have opened a massive door just about 4 weeks before, because I wanted to show this just before Christmas, that during the holidays the governments have enough time to contemplate how they're going to start 2015. Now you brought it forward, as I said, you brought the World Peace Treaty and roadmap of 2014 by 6 weeks forward. I congratulate you. If the boys in military don't try to hide it, but now it's open, you've shown it. Try to understand it. It'll take you a few weeks or months to totally comprehend what you've done. But don't forget that those who are have more facilities in their hand, they can do it much rapidly in different ways. But stick it together, put it in your car, goodbye to fuel. Put it together in the right order, you can heat up all and have light whenever you need. Understand what Marcel showed you. Your problem from today is how to keep light out of the house than keeping light inside the house. You've changed a lot of things, but you got to understand it. Not only you, but a lot of people around the Keshe Foundation. I'm sure our Chinese colleagues will jump on this, because I know how they're doing their work. What you do, you test Raman spectroscopy, which you have access to in China. I'll talk to our Chinese colleagues who have listened to these programs and they know what they're doing. Try to understand the field, the spectrum under the graph of Raman spectroscopy you receive. You will understand the energy delivery, and then you decide what matter you want to use and what fields you want to produce. This is what we call the love of God reaches every entity in the universe, because it's focused inside, and when it spreads equal amongst all creators. And then I'm sure our Chinese friends in the structure they are working, they can separate the materials for the strength they need, and then they use it as a mixture inside the core, and then you can achieve light, lift, even gravitational magnetic field of the cancer, or whatever you need. This changes a lot of things for teaching, and I open the door fully from now on. And I thank you for it.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Just understand, try to concentrate in the next few days to replicate the same. But understand, try to clean up your material from your water, from any material. That you don't carry any sediments, because they'll be separated, as I told you, it'll be at the bottom. I haven't seen your system, I knew exactly what you achieved, what you have. And I congratulate with what you've done the Iranian scientists, which you did a long time before you did. And the same with the Russian military. My advice to national security people who are listening and the ones who have access to them, you know who you are, give them peace, tell them to listen to this part. Watch exactly what has happened and how exactly the most advanced boat in the American army was paralyzed. Russians understood. And if I was you, I would not start the Crimea War, because the only losers will be the ones who sit on the left side, not the ones on the right side. You can carry these systems in your pocket and paralyze systems from kilometers. You don't need huge tanks. As you said, a pressure cooker will do. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, this is Lucian. I wanted just to make a remark on Vince's success and maybe a suggestion to you. In the last maybe 4 workshops, you was giving us a direction of where we go. What I mean by this, you was saying that you are doing and creating the free plasma. After that, we are learning to control it. You know what I mean? So we know where we're going from week to week. So if you could make your plan, let's say for 6 months, to tell us upfront, what we learn in the immediately next coming sessions. For example, probably you would like to go in a crescent disk and sheets, currents in plasma reconnection sheets and stuff like that, so we can have an idea and prepare ourselves theoretically on what you are going to say. I think, as Vince showed us, we are going really fast. So try to make for us something like a curriculum to know ourselves what we should, in what direction we should read and, and go with you. So give us, if possible, like a little overview in the front, maybe 2-3 workshops in advance.
You see, I think with what we showed you with the bracket inside the star formation, is I know where we are going, but I keep on saying this to Caroline. Caroline keeps on telling me, if you tell me things what I'm not supposed to do, then I don't do that, I delay the process of the knowledge. I said, if I tell you, then you're not going to do it, and then the process goes backwards. Then I have to redo it. Your souls is connected with our soul, and our mission is the same. So you receive the knowledge what has got to be done in time and when it's needed to be done. You don't need curriculum. Curriculum sits within your thoughts, within your soul, and with what you receive from us. Words are meaningless. You receive the knowledge from me directly through. It depends how you clean your souls with it to receive it. The curriculum is written thousands of years ago. When I started the first half-cut bottles here in the lab, and everybody was laughing and joking, the guy is just crazy, he's brought a bunch of monkeys around him to show what they do. We read everything, we listen to everything. Now the monkey is you. We have to go at the steps and the speed you understand. Out of thousands and thousands, we have something we know, millions of followers. Now 1 out of million has touched the core. And now the other million reach the same level in 1 instant. When you do things with pure heart to serve, you receive the knowledge. It's you who's refusing it and rejecting it because it's not at the level you want to work. What Vince has shown, it's been on the table from the beginning. Now you see it, you observe it, because now you are supposed to be the one who receives the knowledge and do it. Try to understand the whole process.
Yes, but we did not understand the difference between. We didn't understand the difference between the free plasma and that one confined into the boundary of the sphere. So until you did not explain us that, as you were able to see, we were not able to have progress.
Yes, but the thing is now, I kept on explaining this, and I kept on using poor Marco as a reference. Gradients. I have mentioned going to the in my talks in past maybe month, 2 months. It must be mentioned about a few hundred times, and now you've seen it. The gradients has done its job. Now you decide to look in how fields interact. You should be able easily to make as much light as you like by tonight. And I'm sure if you had the systems we have here, you should have seen a weight reduction. But your system is so light. It's so light, but you managed to capture and control universal gravitational magnetic field which comes from the plasma. And you achieved a major breakthrough. I tell you, people in the White House tonight will not sleep if they understood how obsolete it has become. Tools of war. Let me explain to you what you can do. Expand the size of this plasma for your GANs to become inside it, that it bypasses your boundary of your house. You can do it very easily. 2000 RPM around is your average. If you go over 2000 RPM with CO2, we've seen it here, it's no difference. We've tried 6000 and we tried everything else, and that's why we keep on telling you it's 2000 RPM. You went from 700 up brand, between 1500 to 2500, as I explained in the last workshop, is a margin, depends on what kind of CO2 you produce. All the CO2s are not the same. As I explained, oxygens are created by different materials in different conditions. So you have to find out what your CO2 magnetic field is, what your copper oxide magnetic field is. You have a common denominator between the O of a CO2, CuO, again oxygen, and again the water, which has an oxygen. That's why you're focusing, lensing your plasma into the center. The plasmatic magnetic gravitational field of your sphere in the center has a direct link with the transfer of oxygen, gravitational magnetic plasma. So understand the process, why. You have made, that's why we went through the water, and that's why we use the water. That's why I use everything to oxidize copper oxide. In a way, H2O is a hydrogen oxide. CO2 is carbon oxide. So you have a GAN's common denominator. So the plasma you have created in the center of the core has a limitation. Just 1 second, please.
There's not enough oxygen on the outside of the reactor to create a...
Vince, very, very interesting last 5 sentences. We are going to discuss them.
I thought it was interesting in terms of the Earth's crust is composed all of oxides. And
oxides,
then we just determined that inside this reactor, this spinning little reactor, it's all oxides. Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it.
Now, what happens when you have Now listen, what happens, you have a different gravitational magnetic field outside the reactor. There's no link up.
They will link up.
Not allowing the field to expand.
No,
it's
they
the
will
interaction
allow
of
because...
the...
Are we on? Yeah, because you got to understand, you have your with a helping hand outside the reactor too, because in the Earth gravitational magnetic field, you still have a moisture and you have oxygen. So within the layers, you don't have GANs only inside, you have GANs outside as well. This is exactly as Luciano showed us with the wire. The GANs was up there, not in the liquid. It's the same process. It's amazing how bits come together to be there. Huh? Every one of you has brought a piece of jigsaw and you're putting it together in one day. It means it's the time to move. Luciana comes with a piece of the GANs outside on the wire. Marcel comes with the design. You come up with CO2. So it means the human race is ready toward the next step. Our Chinese friends are doing their bits. We have, and this is just the reason I just left, is one of the top people in the world of electronics and computers is arriving here in the next hour and a half. He's one of the richest people in Western Europe. And he happened to be, he was told to be in a talk I was giving private on Friday. And he's partner with one of the biggest, used to be part of the biggest computer organizations in the world, Apple. He has left everything, says, I have found what I was looking for and everything is answered there. And he's our guest for 2 days here at the center. And now we'll explain what you release to them, and then we support and we develop further with the international groups that are involved with NEOs. It's amazing how everything is coming together.
Mr. Keshe, just as a sideline here, I'm showing on the screen now the world's first ionized ping pong ball. What I did was I put a hole in the ping pong ball and put a brass fitting adapted onto it and put it onto my vacuum system. I vacuumed it out, so there's a little bit of air left, but not very much. And then I added the high voltage onto the brass fitting from a plasma ball, you know, normal plasma ball voltage supply. And then what happened was it didn't light up very good. It barely lit up in the dark, but as soon as I touched it with my fingers, the ball lit up the way you see it there on the screen. So it's interesting in that the gases, just a small amount of atmosphere can ionize inside of a ping pong ball, and they could take the full vacuum as well without collapsing, which it might be a world first as well. I don't know anybody who would have bothered to vacuum out a ping pong ball.
I did.
But
I did 7 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it works. We have a ping pong. If you go back to some of the presentations, I used to show it. I used to show the GANs inside the ping pong ball, and nobody understood. I don't know. I think the last time I saw it, it was when the Canadians stole it from me in the suitcase. They were trying to investigate. I haven't seen it since.
This is compensation for that then, because it's two Canadians that are leading the charge here now. And you know what? One of my, you know what? Wait a minute.
Sure?
I just wanted to say.
The airport.
Well, I'm telling you,
the airport 5 years ago.
One of my goals is to get the Canadian government to apologize to you for your detention in 2010, I believe it was, and you know, because that just wasn't right, and they deserve to just say something about that. I would like to have it mentioned in Parliament, actually, and I know somebody at the top of the government that might be able to make that happen next year. So we'll see.
Okay.
Joyce Murray, are you listening?
Let me tell you something very interesting. You started this talk. As you know, when they did their game in keeping me in Toronto Airport, They went through everything. As you've seen, I've shown it, all the samples of the gas, which at that time nobody understood what it was, were examined by the Canadian scientists, and they put numbers. And I show this to the knowledge every time we see it. Marco is shaking his head. They use the black ink, and it's like a dash, double dash, plus numbers. And tell the Canadian officers who did it in their report, sooner or later somebody will bring it out. Number 3 is CO2. It's a cylinder full of CO2, white. Strange enough, on Saturday when we were going, on Monday when we were going to meeting with this bunch of Italians and different things for the whatever universities and others, I put my hand in to put a pen in, and I thought there is something bulgy in this top pocket. And I felt it inside, outside, inside, outside. It wasn't there. It was something in between. So I literally went down deep into the outside pocket, and it was this little cylinder with a Canadian writing on it with the black number 3. Now I tell you, when they open the report, look at number 3. It's a CO2. That's 5 years ago. And this was in a plastic bag. And I said to Elia, there is a reason to Marco, Armand, this is here for whatever reason. So in the talks and discussions and the meetings and presentations we had, Elia kept on telling me, show them the CO2. So by accident, what the Canadian did, somehow it's ended up in my pocket with number 3. And in the talk we gave, it was on the table, so everybody could see it for the first time, CO2, which was, Canadian had it 5 years ago, but they didn't have the intelligence to understand what it was. And now, this container today, or maybe yesterday, is in the hand of the people who are involved with Ebola to test it for direct Ebola development of the machines and systems for it. And it's very interesting. And when I saw it, I said to Armand, this bottle is still with me from my torture time in Canada. And now that bottle has gone to most probably open up the discussion and the development with one of the major companies who's been appointed for the Ebola development of viruses. And they were so happy to take it, and it's gone. It's already in Africa. So it was very strange. Number 3 in the file, whenever they open it, it was in their hand. They didn't understand. Now you understand what it is.
And strangely enough, the Canadian the vaccine lab is possibly one of the top in the world with this Ebola vaccine, only they've run out of it and they don't have enough for doses, and it's all still very experimental and very iffy. So it's ironic that that's the case, eh?
It's already, I was told, we know within the next day or 2 what's the position with it in the Ebola test. But we know from the scientists in South Sierra Leone University that they're working on this. It's going to be tested this week, I think, with the AIDS virus too. Is how they have been pulled wool over their eyes in trying to deceive everybody, and now they see it. And the breakthrough has come with delivery of the CO2 kits. Because people now for the first time see the application of it, and they can use it, and they can do things with it. And now we show the CO2, we told you what we're going to do next, this energy systems. And with what WINS has shown us, now you have your flight system and you have your energy system totally in one go. Now you know what you got to do.
I have a question about that too, Mr. Keshe.
Yes?
Regarding the health aspect and how the Ebola virus will link up to the CO2 or the fields of the CO2. If you create a dynamic reactor like this, let's say just with CO2, and you create that link up in a patient with the Ebola virus, should it not extract that Ebola virus?
There is a miscalculation with this. because you have to pass this field through other organs and you can create mayhem. It's just like putting bullet through people. It has to be done the way it is. This process of what you're speaking to is part of the patent. If you read it, can be used to create the extraction of materials from environments when there is nothing in the way to harm or to be harmed. You're very correct. It can be done, but now you got a physical bullet. Now you got plasma bullets, because if the virus is in your arm or in your stomach or in your head, imagine it's trying to come to the where you put the system to attract it, to extract it. So it has to
So
be
would that
done.
mean you might need to add energy or add gravitational magnetic field to that virus to be able for it to not interact with the matter?
No, automatically it does. Automatically will be extracted. You don't need to do it. According to the report from the university, the interaction is instantaneous. We saw it with our friend Yukoko in Japan, and everybody says, oh, this is all rubbish, blah, blah. It's instantaneous.
No, I never believed that.
No, but it's instantaneous. The minute you put as magnetic fields, they do. We were standing, because we were in south of Italy yesterday, we were standing outside on the street with Armin. And I said to him, if you look at that palm tree, you know the palm tree, it goes up and then you have a big leaves and it goes with a big branch, what do you call it, branches, and then it slowly becomes very small to the top. I said, when you look at that top of that tree with all these big leaves, with the bigger leaves at the beginning of near the tree and then the smaller outside, is exactly how your magnetic fields behave in your plasma. Strong fields, bigger attraction, bigger, stronger field, and at the end become smaller, that they can be pulled back into the core. If you really want to see it, if you get a good palm tree which has got a big head which turns over, this is the best demonstration for flow of magnetic field and plasma. They are in every direction and they cover everything in every aspect. Just follow the tip of the leaves and then you'll see how you create a sphere. And that's why the fruits of these trees are so centralized and so powerful. Look at the dates. I explained the problem with the Middle East and the food. Now you may understand. This structure you just achieved is not just a ball inside. This ball is live, it's kicking, it's three-dimensional, and it receives and sends fields out. Now start playing with it. Please, those who are in nano games and you're playing with producing nanomaterials and watching the different things and different materials, do not stop, because we still need those knowledges you're gaining to come into on the table for the others to learn more about. And this is fantastic, the way you openly put things on, you don't hide it, that it's going to become a pattern. And my deepest commiseration goes to the people who are involved in all this defense technology and billions spending computers in making weapons and missiles and the rest. As of today, your work worth zilch, zero. And it's done by a simple man in Canada. You know I love Canada, my sister lives there. So your nationality has no meaning, but you achieved a major breakthrough.
Oh, Mr.
In the way you
Keshe.
opened the door for us. Yes.
Sorry, Ludmil is here. As usual, a nasty question and to make Vince's life miserable.
Your questions are always nasty, nice. It's the way you want attention, we give it to you, no problem.
No, just to make Vince's life miserable.
Why? Make it pleasurable.
No. Just to make him, working harder.
Ludmil, you keep on blaming your wife. I think you are the cause of your own diabetic.
I know. Not me, the banks. Don't mix the things. There is some difference. I'm okay with it. The banks are not. what is gonna happen if we enforce?
Okay, go ahead, Limo.
If we enforce the water out with gas, let's say for example hydrogen, isn't that gonna speed up the process?
Why do you need to speed up the process? You
Just to
have to see
increase
what
the
you're
magnetic
expecting.
field.
Depends. No, depends what you're expecting from the system to deliver. Let me explain to you something. Don't change situations just to achieve something. Change the situation to understand what it does. Then you go forward. Change the situation and see what it gives you. I tell you something, if Armand is asleep, because we arrived very, very late, I would say about 3, 4 o'clock this morning, got to bed, he's gonna kick himself not being here today, because he could have shown you exactly what you're gonna achieve. He's worked so hard to put together. Now it's there. We develop it further scientifically in an appropriate way, and you do it your way. I think it's very good for you to look at the design which Marcel has put it on, because it has a lot of parallel in the structure, balancing the fields, and look at what you achieved and what we learned from Luciana and the others. We have entered as of today into a real position to change the course of humanity in a very good
Mr.
way.
Keshe, I think that Ludmil's question is a little bit different. In other words, when Vince is filling that sphere, right, is putting water, the gases, and is some
Yes, I answered him.
oxygen. Just a second. Just oxygen and nitrogen. What Ludmil says, if you take that oxygen out and you replace the oxygen and nitrogen with hydrogen, which is having a smaller molecular mass as an entity.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Oh, okay.
It's totally irrelevant, because now the spherical condition is established. Let me give you advice, Vince. Do not change or stop to reassociate, to integrate. What it means, do not stop your system. If you want to do any changes, try it on another system. Because if you collapse it with what you created, it allows other systems to follow and link up with and create the same condition. You do not need, because
Exactly
if
what
you
I was
change
thinking.
the hydrogen and oxygen or whatever, nitrogen, does not make any difference, because now you work on the plasmatic gravitational magnetic field condition.
I think we have a bit of an audio problem right now. Hello, Spaceship Institute. I think we're having... Is it true other people having problems with the audio? Okay, my audio has gone off, and I think the live stream audio is off, right? So I've just lost some audio for some reason. Okay, let me check some settings in Skype. Oh, now I have audio. Yes, I can hear you now, but I don't have the speaker's audio coming out. Let me reset it. Maybe it'll come through. No, still not coming through. Okay, I have to try it a different way. Try the Procaster.
Gentlemen, we have to finish at
that worked.
11:30.
Yeah, we have to finish.
No, we have to
Rick,
finish round 11.
things okay?
I believe it's working here now, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's
So
just
we
check
have to
for live
finish.
stream.
Yeah, we have to finish around 11:30 because of what is happening here. We will announce it. We hopefully by next. You still need to produce everything and replicate everything, and if you just
Might be important, so maybe you could
uh,
just repeat that.
try not to jump out and everybody start doing what Vince has done, trying to reach to that point. Carry on to understand, and then when you reach the point where Vince has been, you reach a maturity of understanding and you know what to do with it. Then the monkey do, monkey does, monkey sees. What the next step for Vince or people who work in this direction is find a way to concentrate your plasma inwardsly to the central core free plasma. This is the key for you to break open. This is what I explained to the knowledge seekers before. When you feed so much that suddenly the Z line covers the whole space when it receives enough. So now what you got to do in the free zone, in the free space you have created as a vacuum, is to find a way. You tell us 6 months ahead. Now I tell you 6 days ahead. Try to concentrate find a way through GANS material, nothing else, that you can direct the fields inwards to the center, that the center suddenly grows up backwards. You create what you call a white dwarf. You need to create a white dwarf. If you can understand how the white dwarf is created, now that you work with GANs, that white dwarf becomes your bright light in the sky, the white light. If you understand this, don't look to go your fields outwardly, look for your fields to go inwardly into the center. The only way you can do it, understand the creation of gradients inward, not outward. This is very important. Then you find out your central core, just like an instant. It just goes upwards, it becomes a shell on its own. To me, in a way, 40 years of research and hardship with this has shown to be correct and understood by the man on the street and other professors in the universities. And just be patient, just understand what you're doing, a step at a time. You don't go outward, you go inward, and inward will come strong enough that it goes outward. This is what I explained regarding the pulses earlier on at different rates. You put enough energy from the 4 reactors that the free plasma has no choice but to go outwards, and then it becomes a shield of its own. And you achieved it, and it's fantastic what you achieved, but now you have to work on it to be able to show how you can deliver it as what you want. Light, lift, motion, curing a system, curing a person. This is what I said while Dr. Elia was driving yesterday. I said, I put a creature in front of you. I want you to see what's wrong with it. She says, oh, look what comes out. I said, it's got no anus. She says, what? He said, it's got no head. It's just a field in front of you on the floor. And it's sick. You got to understand how you can help it. In so many ways, what you achieved can help Dr. Elia in receiving, giving to the entity in the universe in what is needed without understanding the structure of it. You measure the fields which is lacking or is needed, is asking for, through is the organization. And then if you understand this, then you can create what I call the universal fish tank or aquarium. You're very near to it. You're extremely near to it. Understand what you're doing in the gap in between the 4 reactors, what you call the free reactor. If you understand and you can control the strength field instead of going to 120 Tesla, go to the dimension of the man. It's within your grasp. If you understand it, if you are clear enough with your understanding and your soul, as we said, to be able to see the soul of the blessed Christ. I said this to the knowledge seekers yesterday in the car. Very soon I'll bring all the prophets in their soul present to the man for them to out the unity of man. And you are near there, you achieved it. And I told you to make 5, because then you can make the condition to be at the level of the soul of any creatures or physicality of any creatures. I congratulate you. It's amazing what you achieved in a simple way, but answer what I said from the beginning. This knowledge will be understood by everyone. A man in the back of village of Africa and the professor sitting in the iMac as a boss. And they walked away because they wanted to be superior. And a simple man like you, Armand, Marco, with a small knowledge, have broken through a major, which the scientists, even Da Vinci, could not do for centuries. Just bless your system. Every time you start with it, that will be used for peaceful application. And it'll be done, because it's your wish, the wish is your order. Any other question?
Thank you again, Keshe, and I think we should wrap that up because you have about 15 minutes left.
Yes. Thank you very much. Wins, concentrate on what you're doing as a knowledge seekers, plasma core. Stay on the same different material densities. If Armand comes in today, when he recovers from the trip, we try to do what is planned here to go into GANs instead of copper oxide. We have 3-4 different oxides here. GANs is the black one, the red one. So we extend the knowledge, and maybe video or together or simultaneously before Christmas we achieve what we promise. It's just we have to do it, that you do it, not us, that then we don't become a target. And now everybody knows how you've done it. Stick to it, understand it. You should be able to have lunch with us in Christmas. Thank you very much. Thank you for today.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks everybody. That's the end of the 37th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.